wash machine bother you?
A little bit, but
Okay,
it'll be
I
okay.
can wait though.
It'll be okay.
All right, well, I'm going to give it 1 or 2 more minutes before we start. We're still waiting for a couple of the other panelists to join in, and hopefully they will.
Oh, mhm. Paula,
Yeah. Right.
Dawn Leslie
I
had
see.
a designation on the bottom of the screen that she cannot be seen. So apparently she's signed in.
I don't see her either. Let's see. She's
Yeah,
not
It
listed.
looks as though Donna signed in as a panelist or as a participant rather.
Oh, if you can hear me, Dawn, sign in on your panel, in your
There
panel.
she is.
There she
There
is,
she is.
okay. Hi, Dawn. Okay, well, it looks like we should probably start now. We have 3 panelists. All 5 candidates were going to show up, so hopefully they will appear shortly. All right, so good afternoon. The League of Women Voters of Lane County and the Siuslaw Public Library District wish to welcome the candidates for County Commissioner for West Lane and thank you for participating in today's forum. We also welcome our audience and thank you for taking the time to learn about your candidates' positions. My name is Paula Grisafi and I am Voter Service Chair for the Lane County League. The League is a nonpartisan organization that has been registering and educating voters, fostering civil discourse, and supporting voter rights since its establishment in 1920. We encourage informed and active participation in government and are pleased to partner with the Siuslaw Public Library District for this candidate forum. Meg?
Hi, my name is Meg Spencer. I am the director of the Siuslaw Public Library District. And I really just want to thank Paula and the League for partnering with the library on this event. You all know, I think all of you who are participating, how important it is for rural voters to have a voice. As you may know, the library, and I think all libraries, are committed to bringing people and information together, and today's forum is part of that mission. As a reminder, the views you hear expressed today are those of the candidates and the participants in the forum and do not represent the views or opinions of the library. Back to you, Paula.
Thank you. All right, so today's format will allow candidates a 2-minute opening statement and a 1-minute closing statement. Each question will go to all the candidates, who will each be given 1 minute to respond. Due to time constraints in this forum, we will not allow time for rebuttals. Candidates will proceed in alphabetical order for opening statements and reverse alphabetical order for closing statements. Questions will be rotated through the candidates, again starting in alphabetical order so that each candidate will have a turn to go first. We ask that out of respect for the audience and each other, candidates adhere to the time allotted. You will be muted if you exceed that time. Audience members may submit questions through the Q&A function of the meeting. Now I'd like to introduce our moderator, the Honorable Jack Billings, who retired in 2011 after 18 years as a Lane County Circuit Court judge. In addition to his previous service on school and transit boards, for the past 8 years, he has been elected to the board of the Lane Electric Cooperative. In recent years, he has also become a well-known local author. Judge Billings.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to this forum. I'm really pleased to have the opportunity to act as a moderator. And so, as you know, the candidates have an opportunity, and it looks like we now have four of the candidates for a 2-minute opening statement. And let me begin with Ryan Senega. Mr. Senega.
Hello, my name is Ryan Senega. I pre-apologize. I've got a little growly voice going, but we'll get through this. I think it's all the talking us candidates have been doing lately. I'm running for West Lane County Commissioner. I'm a 3rd-generation Oregonian, and I've been in West Lane County for almost 40 years now. I grew up like a lot of our rural kids. Started out on a farm, worked my way up to one of the mechanics, and went off to school for vocational school, graduated, came back, right back to Oregon because this is my home. I was approached about running for county commissioner after winning the seat on the Junction City School Board. Some people noticed that I enjoyed these kind of boards and the politics and have always been known for being fair. I thought I'd be a good fit. I'm on the long range facility planning committee for the school also. I'm a member of the Junction City Lions Club, and I've worked in public sectors and private sectors. So I have a vast knowledge of how both sides work, budgetary issues, and pros and cons. I'm currently one of the water distribution managers at EWEB, Eugene Water and Electric Board. And it's a great job. So I'm reaching out for this Lane County position because I want to be the voice for Lane County. I think that Lane County is a great county, and it does have some problems, but all things that we can work through. That's what I'm here for. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. The next candidate to make an opening statement will be Terry Duman. Sir.
Hello. Thank you. I'm Terry Duman, candidate for West Lane County Commissioner. I'm a 3rd-generation Florence native. After I returned home from the military as a young man, I started a small business path. Through the years, I've commercial fished, logged, farmed, been a developer, and currently my road building company employs 20+ people here in the Florence-Mapleton area. Currently, I'm chair of the Siuslaw Port Commission, serving my 3rd term. My decision to run for this position was easy to make. I'm tired of no support for rural Lane County. I understand my friends and neighbors' frustrations of receiving little county support. We send our tax-paying money over the hill and get very little in return for rural Lane County. We need a little bit of everything in West Lane County, including rural police protection and maybe even a resident deputy. 2-hour wait times for officers' response is not acceptable for our citizens. We need funding for mental health crisis and outreach programs, services for our residents. The recent pandemic has shown us that we need to increase the internet services to all of rural Lane County. It's time to get rural Lane County up to speed, allow us to accept electronically send permits and applications to our building and planning department. Sometimes our residents make 4 or 5 trips to obtain one single permit for a building. The county needs to modify their density requirements and zoning for areas. It's a great way to ease the housing shortage. Climate action plan needs rework to include all of Lane County. I'm sure that'll come up in discussion. In short, we need a little bit of everything. As a commissioner, it would be my job to hear you, open the door for you, and be your advocate. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, sir. The next candidate to give an opening statement will be Misty Fox.
Hi there, I'm Misty Fox. I grew up here in Triangle Lake, graduated from Junction City, and currently live in Deadwood. Lane County has always been my home. I decided to get into the fight in 2006 to help, bring our state and our county back to what it was when I grew up. We have a serious lack of law enforcement in our rural areas, and the crime and homeless issues have gone through the roof, and I wasn't seeing the action that I thought that our county and our state needed. So I decided to jump in, like I said, in 2006. I've been very active, helping our communities get certain things on the ballot that would help preserve our liberties and our freedoms. I've helped several other counties like Columbia County and Lincoln County. I'm a hands-on person, and when I see something's not running the way I think it should be, then I get in there and I do what I need to do to make that happen. Like I said, I'm a homegrown gal. I'm just one of us out here, and I see a great need for like more law enforcement, more cell service in the rural part of the area, so we're able to dial 911 when we needed, better internet service so that our rural schools like Triangle Lake and Mapleton can function without, issues. And I'm here to ask for your vote as West Lane County Commissioner.
All right, thank you very much. And it looks to me like our last candidate with us this afternoon is Dawn Leslie. Ma'am, your opening statement, please.
Thank you to the Siuslaw Public Library District and League of Women Voters for hosting us today, and to Judge Billings for moderating. I'm Dawn Leslie, and I'm running for Lane County Commissioner out of a fierce sense of urgency. As an engineer working on sustainable water and energy projects, I can no longer pretend that work is enough to address the critical challenges facing our community: the COVID-19 pandemic, impacts of climate change, wages that don't keep up with the cost of living, lack of affordable housing, inequitable public safety and healthcare, and lack of rural access to broadband internet service. But the thing that most endangers us is our current inability to talk with each other and work together across political and social divides. We must be able to cooperate on humane, creative solutions to the problems we face. As you may know, I ran for this seat in 2014. I knocked on thousands of doors from Junction City to Elmira, Veneta, Florence, and in all the rural areas in between, and came within 74 votes of beating an incumbent county commissioner. 8 years ago, many of the issues were similar, but now in 2022, at least one stark difference is clear to me. I'm calling it polarization fatigue. People are very, very tired of hearing one party demonize another from either side. We're all human, and in my direct experience on these many doors, we all agree more than we disagree. That's not to say we don't have our disagreements, but when our leaders spend their time emphasizing only our points of disagreement, it becomes more difficult to even see, much less work on the vast areas of deep agreement. This is a nonpartisan seat for a reason. We must work together on a unifying vision that resonates across so-called divides, because right now we're reaping the effects of division, and it's dangerous. The vision that I believe has heart for Lane County is we all want a healthy, vibrant community where everyone has a safe place to lay their head at night, where folks have access to meaningful work with family supportive wages and strong benefits, including healthcare, and where our kids have economic opportunities right here near home, and they feel excited and hopeful about our future. I'm happy to be here with you and look forward to this discussion.
Very well. Paula, would I be the one then to ask questions of our candidates?
Yes.
All right, let's begin with Mr. Senega, although the questions will be in reverse order in a little bit. Sir, if elected, what would be your top 3 priorities?
My top priority is public safety. You're going to probably hear it a couple of times today. Our sheriff's department is underfunded, understaffed. My second priority is going to be our homeless issue. We are treating drug addicts, the mentally ill, and habitual offenders all the same. And I think we all know that a hard night in jail for someone that's having a mental breakdown is probably not the best scenario. We need to separate that. My third topic would be to get Lane County back into our AOCC and onto our federal timber ground, so we can start getting revenue that way instead of through taxation and permits. Thank you.
Okay, very well. Mr. Duman, excuse me, your top 3 priorities?
My top priority has to be rural police protection. We, here in the rural Lane County, we need a rural deputy that can be provided. Access of service to rural areas, not only an internet crisis, mental health crisis, and outreach response teams. When you live in the metro area, it's nothing to have. You have Cahoots and Whitebird. Here we have very little in rural Lane County. We used to have a annex building here in Florence. We have that no more. We need some way to get our voice heard to the county. The next thing would have to be transportation for seniors and all residents to our valley. It's hard for them to get over to the meetings, to anything, to any services that are provided in the valley. Thank you.
Very well. And Ms. Fox, please, your top 3 priorities.
My top 3 priorities are increasing our local sheriff's departments so that our deputies are throughout every part of our county so that access to services is immediate and not 20 some minutes or more. Second one is addressing the homeless issue, because what we're doing right now is a waste of our funds and inhumane. Third would be to get some services in place for our mentally disabled folks so that there's more housing, more services for them so that they are not thrown out to the streets.
All right, very well, thank you. And Ms. Leslie, your top 3 priorities.
Thank you. My top 3 priorities are affordable housing and homelessness is one. Clearly, what we're doing is not cost effective or humane in any way. And it's a complex issue, but it needs to be addressed, and we need better services, and we need to build more housing. Second is public safety. And I agree that there is, as others have said, that it's not acceptable to have the long wait times for responses in the rural areas. And also a third area right up with the other 2 is climate action. We need to reduce our dependence on fossil fuels and invest in a renewable energy economy. We know that's the future, and we are living the impacts of neglecting this issue for far too long. And we're 13 years into a drought, and wildfires are threatening to grow astronomically. And we have to be addressing both how to mitigate the impacts and also how to take care of each other when the impacts are threatening us.
All right, very, very well, thank you. We're going to go in reverse order then for the next question. And that question is, what work should county government do to mitigate the effects of climate change in the county that are already occurring, such as wildfires, flooding, drought, and more severe storms? So, Ms. Leslie, let me begin with you.
Sure. So the impacts are here and they're growing, and we need to have more emergency preparedness, both the CERT training out not only in the urban and suburban areas, but in the small towns and out into the rural areas. Better CERT training to train people to know their neighbors, mapping their neighborhood, having networks for understanding where the resources are, how to get people out when wildfires are threatening. So being ready to take care of each other is one piece, that emergency preparedness piece. Also, in terms of reducing greenhouse gas emissions, the largest greenhouse gas emitter that is under direct county control is Short Mountain Landfill. And we should be building an anaerobic digester and a mixed recycling facility to reduce what's going in the landfill and to mine the resources out of it, which is the energy rich organic material that right now is rotting in there instead of being mined for its energy. And also keeping recyclable and reusable materials out of the landfill.
Thank you very much. Ms. Fox.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, I can. What work should county government do to mitigate the effects of climate change in the county that are already occurring, such as wildfires, flooding, drought, and more severe storms?
Well, first of all, we need to quit playing God with our environment and we need to start logging our forest and quit letting that undergrowth take over so that it's a fire hazard, and let farmers farm, lift the restrictions so farmers and logging can do their business like they should. Because new forest and farmland consume the greenhouse gases and then expel oxygen. So we need healthy, new, young forest, not old, decaying forest that contribute to the greenhouse effect. Let our farms produce crops, green forest, consume the greenhouse gases and expel oxygen. So I say, let's log and farm.
Very well. Mr. Dumont?
Yeah, thank you. My first thought, and I've harped on this before, is we need to develop our F2 zoning into fire defensible spaces. There's a lot of small pieces of property that are interfaced between prime forest F1 and residential that we could use as defensible spaces. People are trying to build homes on them. This will ease the housing crunch. It's been proven that a green grass and a steel roof will slow down a fire. We've proven that in the Vida fire, the Holiday Farm fire, if you want to call it that. As far as the Short Mountain, I just can't see us spending taxpayers' money to refit Short Mountain methane gas collection. When we collect the methane gas, we burn it, which produces CO2, which is more harmful to the environment than the methane gas if left alone. So I just can't see us spending the money. I think the Climate Action Plan has good merits. We need to expound on it for the entire county, though. Thank you.
All right, sir, thank you. And Mr. Seniga?
I think the first thing we need to do is focus on having a strong infrastructure. The stronger our infrastructure is, the more resilient it is to change. This is aimed at forced electrification. These kind of things are not the answers. We need more than one way to heat our house. Our current electrical grid is already under stress, and adding that is not going to help it out anymore. Another thing is not closing down our Forest Service roads. These fires start in these remote places and we can't get to them. That's because we're decommissioning roads. We need to keep our roads open and keep those roads available for our trucks to get to. Third step is keep our current water sources. There's talk of removing the Horton Pond, Hilt Pond, whatever you want to call it, and that is a vital water source for helicopters and other firefighting devices here in this side of the valley. Thank you.
All right, very well. I'm going to kind of jump into the middle of the pack here and begin with Ms. Fox on the next question. What plans should the county be focusing on to alleviate the problem of the unhoused and lack of affordable housing?
First of all, we need to do a complete audit of our finances and see where that money's going, because it's not going toward the homeless issue. We spend a little over $53 million to address it, and it hasn't helped whatsoever. The county needs to start holding criminals accountable for their actions. And since drug offenses and alcoholism accounts for a good chunk of those homeless issues, we need to start holding them accountable and put them through the system. Issuing somebody a $97 ticket for drug offense or an alcohol offense, and then allowing them to inquire about treatment so that fine gets dropped is not a solution. So we need to start, taking some action and looking where our funds go and actually put it where it's supposed to be going.
All right, very well. Ms. Leslie, please.
Sure. Thank you for that question. Could you repeat just the exact wording of it again, please?
Yes, I can. What plans should the county be focusing on to alleviate the problem of the unhoused and lack of affordable housing?
So the county has an affordable housing action plan. And they're working, some of it has already been underway for a while. A lot of units have been built in in the last couple of years. The Commons at MLK has 51 units of permanent supported housing, and the Nell is just about to open with 45 units. The Keystone has 15 units of permanent supported housing at the Lane County Fairgrounds. Square One, there's also public-private partnerships happening where Square One Villages is building tiny house villages, and that's exciting. The parts of the affordable housing plan that haven't been enacted yet that I'm most interested in working on and excited about are piloting an affordable rural ADU program for homeowners and renters, evaluate county-owned underutilized properties for housing options, and supporting rural communities by piloting community land trusts and limited equity cooperatives. I think these are excellent existing plans in the county's affordable housing action plan, and I'm looking forward to working on them.
All right, thank you. Mr. Seneca, please.
Yes, this is a very complex problem, and it's going to take some tough solutions. First thing we need to do is look at our nonprofits and our homeless programs. We need to get these programs outcome based. You listen to the commissioners' meetings, and we've got some great people working for the county. They're trying hard. They've got a lot of programs in place, but there's just no accountability, and there's no lead in what's working and what's not working. I think we need to look at opening up crisis centers, something in between jail and being on the street. These are places people can go, they can warm up. If they need drug help, they can get the attention they need. And in doing that, maybe look at privatizing some of these things. Get some investors in and open some of these places up that could be of help. Thank you.
Very well. Mr. Dumont.
Thank you. Springfield has a great start with the county. The county just approved higher densities in Springfield planning zones. This needs to be done countywide. Springfield got to jump up on us. Even the current county board says this is just a start. And I think that's where we have to go. We have to increase the density. We have to relax the county zones to allow more density in the rural areas. A lot of these F2 properties have 8 to 10 acres on them. I'm not saying build 10 home sites on them, but by building 2 or 3 on them, we can do that in a sensible manner. This will help provide us our fire breaks that we desperately need. And provide the housing, the ADUs, which are nothing but additional dwelling units, a mother-in-law house. Why not take a 1 acre piece of property and put 2 or 3 homes on it? The infrastructure, the water and the sewer are already to that property. All we're doing is giving other people places to live. And it's either that or we're going to have to move into more of our urban growth or more into our urban areas. Thank you.
All right, sir. Thanks so much. I think I got to everybody. So I have another question for you, and I'd like to begin this with Ms. Leslie. How do you plan to pay for the increases in services that you've been talking about?
Well, thanks. That is always the tricky part, right? It's how we're going to pay for them. We need to work on getting more federal and state dollars to the county for supporting mental health services, affordable housing projects. We need to work on more public-private partnerships, such as the Square One Villages approach, which I think is a really excellent model of public and private entities coming together with to create housing that is permanently accessible to low-income folks. That the amount you pay to live there is always going to be indexed to your income. So I think that's an excellent example of leveraging private money in combination with public money. So we look for more of those opportunities, and also having an auditor in place to go through the county's books and make sure that we're being as efficient as possible with our dollars.
All right, thank you. Mr. Seneca.
We need to look at how this county used to make revenue. We pulled out of the AOCC and out of the ONC, which is federal timber ground in Lane County. Lane County has the second largest amount of this timber ground. And it's stated right there in our contract, written up in the 1930s. It's 3 pages. They say now it'd be 3 pounds of paper. So harvest at a sustainable yield. Right now, we are around a 10% of our sustainable yield. That's over $50 million a year, just in our budget, just in Lane counties. We need a structurally based budget. Right now, we are funding long-term expenses with one-time money. So when we do get this federal grant money, it's already spent. We need to clean up our budget, just like a household would. Your expenses need to meet your income. Thank you.
Mr. Dumont, please.
Thank you. Well, first I'll start with the $400,000 we budgeted to the climate action plan. Why? Well, that's $400,000 we can use in other areas of the county, maybe more in rural Lane County. We received $7.2 million in federal timber funds through the Secure Rural Schools Act. This is federal timber fund that we got from the Association of Oregon California Railroad money. The AOCC, we did pull out of the AOCC, but we did not lose a single dollar that was due to us. AOCC is a lobbying group. Although I feel we should be a member of the AOCC lobbying group, keep in mind that did not restrict the money from the federal timber that come to us. We still have plenty of logging in Lane County taking place to get revenue from. Thank you.
All right, very well. Ms. Fox.
First of all, we do an audit of our budget. Lane County has a little over $800 million. Where's all that money coming from? We take it from taxpayers, lottery funds, marijuana funds. It's coming from everywhere. So where's it going? We figure out where it's going and we start putting where it's supposed to be going. And we start using our natural resources like logging and mining and start bringing in those county funds, wasting it in places that it doesn't need to be going. And, you know, politicians and our county commissioners and everybody getting these raises every year. Local people aren't getting those raises. They're not making that kind of money, but we're taking it from them. So we better start using it where it's supposed to be going.
Okay, well, thank you very much. The next question I have for the candidates is, what is the county's role in ensuring that high-speed internet is available and affordable to the county's population, especially in rural areas? And I'm going to begin this round with Mr. Dumont.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the county's role is huge to provide internet access to rural Lane County. We've seen in the pandemic that access to the internet was critical. Many people performed their jobs, performed all their meetings. It slowed the spread of the pandemic, whether people want to admit to it or not. I think it did. I know it did. We should be a leader in doing so. I know these companies have to come in front of the county to probably get permits to provide access to the internet, to lay their cables, to lay their wires in the ground. At that time, we can justify by saying, hey, if you're going to do that, you must do this. They do it. They don't do it because of money. It's not cost effective for them until we as a county look at them and say, I'm not really worried about your bottom line here. You're going to provide access to Horton. You're going to provide access to Deadwood or Blatchley. Until we do that, it won't happen. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Fox.
The county's role is to lift the restrictions so that private companies like the broadband internet providers can actually get out there and get it to the rural areas. The county is the one that's restricting it by rules and regulations. We need, these businesses, we need more of the businesses that provide the internet service to start vying for that business, but they're not going to if there's going to be restrictions in place that hinder them from doing that. Open up the business so that the people can get their internet service. During this pandemic, scandemic, whatever you guys want to call it, Triangle Lake suffered greatly because their internet service isn't great out here. And, that comes from restrictions. Let the businesses vie for business from the private sector and open it up.
All right, very well. Ms. Leslie, please.
The county's role is in getting internet service out to the rural areas is going to be similar as with all the other utilities. There was a time when electricity was only available to wealthy people. And when we recognized that it was a public service that needed to be accessible to everyone, there was a rural electrification project. And that came together from partnerships, public-private partnerships. It's not cost effective for private entities. Private entities aren't interested in building all the infrastructure on their own. They can't make money that way. So you have to have a public-private partnership that helps it happen. Like out in Westford in East Lane County, there was some public money that came, federal dollars, and that's what I would be looking for is federal and state support, trying to build those partnerships between the private companies that can maybe get, once you have a hub, once you have a local hub in a place like Westford, then the private companies can work to get it out farther to the house to house. But you've got to have a partnership.
All right, Mr. Senega, please. Sir, you're muted. Mr. Senega, there you go. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, sorry, it popped up on my screen.
Start his timer over. Start his timer over, poor guy.
Pop up. All right. Lane County is very rural, and it is our job as county commissioners to help our rural communities. Internet has become a very, very vital part of that. You look at how we've talked about schooling, how people are getting their schooling done. That's also something that a lot of our rural communities are relying on federal and state help as well. And this is how you access those plans, different programs. As a county commissioner, you can also help open up the ground. You can expedite these permits. Now we can get down the roads. Yes, we can do that. It needs to be a yes, we can do that attitude. That's going to encourage the contractors. Lane County isn't known for being very easy to work with. And once you've got them this job and you are helping them, I think it's going to go a lot quicker. And
all right, very well, thank you. We're going to go back to the alphabetical order, and I have the question for you. How will you make yourself available to Lane County residents? So, Mr. Senega, what do you have to say?
Just by being very transparent. I've also been knocking on doors and making phone calls, handing out palm cards. Everybody has my phone number. Every time my phone rings, I answer. It's all about communication. When somebody emails you, you email them back. Do some research. Email them back with a good answer, something that shows you put the work into it. It's very easy to tell who's putting in the work and who's not. When you feel like you're inundated at times, and this is just the beginning with phone calls and emails, and I just can't stress enough that it's going to be all about communication, being in the public's eye, being over on the coast, being in Dune City, being in Veneta, and letting the people know that you are there and supporting their local businesses.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Dumont.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I'm available to Lane County residents. I've said this before in the campaign trail. I will have an office open 5 days a week to the residents of rural Lane County. That will be in the Florence-Mapleton area. Every day I intend to drive every day, Highway 36 or Highway 126. Sorry, I'm not looking forward to that, but I will do so. And on my way, I'll stop at every citizen that has a voice to be heard, or every town hall. So I am fluent with using my mobile phone. So I know how to use the internet. I know how to text. I know it's important in today's society. And people sometimes say it's too easy to not. I want to represent Western Lane County. And I know there's portions, Veneta, Elmira, trust me, I have family and friends in all areas of Western Lane County. So it isn't a concern for me to show representation to entire Western Lane County, and I want to do so. Thank you.
Ms. Fox?
So commissioners are a public servant and they're supposed to be listening to their people, and I intend on doing that. My phone number is listed in the phone book. I give it to every single person I speak to. I knock on a lot of doors, talk to everybody, give them my phone number, my email address. I ask questions. Those questions should be asked of our communities so that we know what to address. We sitting in this position are to be the voice of the people, and I intend on doing that. And by doing that, you get out and you start talking to people. You get their voice heard through you. And so I'm always open. My phone number is in the phone book. I give it to everybody. My email, my Facebook pages are public. I'm open. I drive to every part of the county every day. I'm in Springfield, Oak Ridge, Florence. I'm hardly ever home as it is. So it won't be anything new to reaching out to anybody.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Leslie.
Thank you. I appreciate this question a lot. I am very concerned with how polarized the conversations have been in the county, and how much the past leadership has focused on polarizing conversations. I think what's really important is listening, and also being accessible to a diversity of people. And that does mean going physically out to the rural areas. And it also means going physically to the high schools. I am concerned with the way high school kids are feeling despair and not seeing themselves reflected in leadership, and not seeing a path forward to their future. So I'm already reaching out to high schools and wanting to develop relationships with high schools in the district so that high school students see their leaders and see me anyway, and feel welcome and feel like they can be heard. I'm interested in communities of color, reaching out to the communities of color. They don't necessarily feel welcome in the halls of government. Reaching out to communities of color, to the differently abled community. Making people come to me is not as effective as going out and being accessible to others.
All right, very well. Now, I didn't miss anybody, did I? I think I got everybody in that question. So I'm going to begin with Mr. Dumont with this next question. In the last year, the county commissioners used an independent redistricting committee to draw new county district lines. How do you feel the process worked? How would you improve the process? And would you recommend a charter amendment to ensure the change is permanent? Mr. Dumont?
Well, I haven't had a chance to look at the redistricting committee, what they propose for new county lines, but I will say that Western Lane County is too diverse for one person to assume. It's going to be a tough task for any commissioner to take everything from the Pacific Ocean to the Willamette River and provide coverage. It's going to be a daunting task. I'm up for that task. I feel that we have no representation on this side. I would like to see what the redistricting committee suggested, and that's all I know about that position of it. As a commissioner, I know we need to fight for that redistricting. I would like to see West Lane County be 2 districts and East Lane County be 2 districts. So with that, thank you.
All right, very well. Ms. Fox?
The redistricting turned into a political party line type of thing, and it was an absolute mess. It shouldn't be like draw lines to get you the best representation for your party. It's about representing the county as a whole, and that's not what happened in this last redistricting. So, I think it's very skewed, I guess, the fact that East County's so big, West County's so big, and then we got these little parts of Eugene divided into 2, and little Springfield. It needs to be redone all the way around, and it needs a lot of community input on it. I don't know about putting it into the charter or not. It's something that the community needs to get involved in for sure. That's what I got to say.
All right, Ms. Leslie, please.
I watched the redistricting very closely from afar, and it was let's just be clear, there is no way you can draw 5 districts that makes everybody happy. So that was just going in. This was a citizen committee that spent hundreds, and if you added up among the 15 members of that committee, thousands of hours on many, many maps that they created. I thought it was the most fair and balanced process that the county's ever had. In the past, the commissioners were right in there drawing boundaries to suit themselves. In this redistricting process, the commissioners weren't in there. Each commissioner chose one of the members of that committee, and then those 5, so that was 5, and then those 5 chose the other 10. So there were 15 citizens who had no dog in the fight. Is that how you say it? They had no skin in the game. There you go. 15 citizens who were just following the rules and doing it the best they could to make it as representative as possible. And I was very impressed with their hard work.
All right, Ms. Leslie, thank you. And Mr. Seneca.
Yeah, I had a little different outlook on it. There was a couple of the maps weren't close. I mean, the first thing, your 5 and your future 15, I don't think they should be any political consultants in those groups. It was skewed. The public input was completely dismissed when it came to it. They adopted map J, I believe, and map C, according to the constituents in the outcry I heard, because I also followed it very closely, made sense. Rural Lane County is rural Lane County. It's not up through 4 corners. And I mean, there's some other discrepancies in there, but I would start with your picks of your first 5 are nonpartisan, and then go from there. But yeah, keeping the political consultants out of it would probably be my first step. Thank you.
Okay, very well. Thank you. Another question. I'm going to begin with Ms. Fox. What is your most important qualification to hold office as a county commissioner?
Well, I follow the Constitution with no compromise, and I recognize that these people that we're calling leaders are not leaders, they're public servants, and their job is to serve the public. It's a seat that's given to us by the public to represent their voice. We're not there to lead them. We're not there to be an authority to them. And so my biggest qualification is that I want freedom and liberty for all of us equally, and that I don't see myself as somebody higher than the public.
All right, very well. Ms. Leslie.
My most important qualification is the 27 years that I've spent bringing teams of people together to find smart solutions that work on time and on budget. So hundreds of millions of dollars of infrastructure projects. There always some controversy. There's public input. There's technical things that need to be solved, and bringing people together to work out the best path forward that brings things in, that solves the issues, listening to people, getting people from different perspectives to work together to come up with good solutions for technical problems. That's going to be helpful. That has developed for me some very strong listening skills, and also the ability to communicate difficult and complex ideas in ways that everybody can understand, so that we all can have a voice at the table.
All right, thanks very much. Mr. Seneca.
I would say my first attribute is getting along with everyone, understanding other people's point of view, looking at projects, topics, programs from all sides, and making the best decisions. Part of that is listening to experts, and you don't always have to be the expert on the topic, but you need to have experts' input on these topics. I've gotten along great on the school board. We've had multiple issues with the COVID and the mask mandates, and and upset parents. And it's keeping a cool, calm head about you, and answering to people, your constituents, with questions and solutions that they didn't like your answers to. You can't please everybody, but you do have to listen to the people and get the biggest group of your constituents together and make those kind of decisions. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much. Mr. Dumont.
Yeah, as far as qualifications, the first one I'm going to point out, just be local knowledge. I have a knowledge of the entire rural Lane County. I work every square inch of rural Lane County with my current business, and I have for 40 years as a small business owner. I do have an ability to listen and understand. My current company has 20 employees. It's like having 20 school children every day. They don't go home on weekends. So in one sense, it is like being a school teacher. My willingness to serve as a public servant. I've served on the Siuslaw Port Commission for the last 10 years. I've handled a lot of problems with personnel, people, tenants in the RV park, in the mortgage. I've handled the budget problems. We've got a very good, successful budget program going on at the Port of Siuslaw. This is all facilitated me to apply for this position. Thank you.
Paul, it's my sense that we're at the point for closing statements.
Yes.
Well, then we'll go in reverse order, that is reverse alphabetical order. You have 1 minute to provide a closing statement. So Ms. Leslie, please go ahead.
Thank you to the Siuslaw Public Library District and League of Women Voters for the great work you do for our community, for arranging this forum, and for inviting me. Thank you to all the community members who attended this evening. I hope you enjoyed our conversation as much as I did. We covered a lot of ground in only an hour. If you didn't get your questions answered tonight, you can reach me on my website, donleslie.org. We differ over some details about how we're going to get there across Lane County, but creating a positive future starts with recognizing each other's humanity, listening to each other, and looking for points of agreement. Then we build trust from there. We bring diverse perspectives together and find pragmatic solutions to the technical details. This is the process I intend to lead as the next Lane County Commissioner, should I be so fortunate as to earn this seat. I am accessible to your questions. I want to hear your opinions, and that is how I will serve if I'm fortunate enough to be elected to serve. I'm Dawn Leslie. I'm your neighbor, and I'm asking for your vote.
All right, very well, thank you. And Ms. Fox, please.
I am Misty Fox. I'm asking for your vote as West Lane County Commissioner. I am a homegrown Triangle Lake, Junction City, Deadwood native. I'm one of us. I'm not a politician. I'm not endorsed or bought for by any politician or company in Lane County. The politicians and companies that control our monies in Lane County have a lot to lose if I'm elected. The back scratching, pocket filling, favoritism ends with me. Like I said, I'm homegrown. I am built to hammer it out with these people. I will stand my ground and do what's right for our citizens and our county, and not pander to the money and the persuasion from companies and politicians.
Very well, thank you. Mr. Dumont, please.
Yeah, thank you. Throughout my years in Florence, I've watched the county reduce its level of service to West Lane County. Our population has grown, but we've lost the resources. Tired of seeing our boat ramps, parks, and sanitation facilities closed. We pay taxes, but the money isn't coming back to us. It's my job to hear your voice, be your advocate, and help the county provide support to our West Lane County communities. Our concerns are different than the bigger parts of this county. We're not the metro area. We deserve more, and I can represent you in working toward this. The county should be a leader in services like mental health service, housing and homelessness, and supporting appropriate land use and enough police presence in our communities. I can provide the link for those services. I am Terry Duman. I am asking you for your vote for West Lane County Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Senegal.
Well, I would just like to say thank you for putting on this great forum. I love this county, and clearly so do all of us here that are running for county commissioner. I think that says a lot. One of the things that I really want to focus on as the county commissioner is getting back to a structurally based budget. I think we could simplify a lot of these things. We need to work on our affordable housing. We need to streamline our permit process. Maybe open up a satellite office in the Florence area to help these people out. Start e-permitting. These are all simple things that we can work on as a county to include everybody and to make everybody's voice and dollars feel like they're being heard. Frankly, I mean, that's what people look at. I've been in both private and public sector, and I think I can really help bridge that gap. My name is Ryan Senega. I'm running for West Lane County Commissioner. I appreciate your vote. Thanks a lot.
All right, well, folks, I very much appreciate the opportunity to ask these questions and listen to your answers. I'm sure that the audience has been pleased to get a chance to hear more from you about these various and important issues. Paula, I'm going to turn this over to you unless there's something else you would ask me to take on.
No, that's fine. I'd like to say thank you to all the participants in this forum, both the candidates and the audience. Thank you also to the Siuslaw Public Library District and to Judge Billings. He did a great job. The link to a recording of this forum will be available on the League of Women Voters of Lane County webpage and on the Siuslaw Public Library District's YouTube channel. Meg?
I just want to take a moment to thank Paula and the League of Women Voters for thinking to reach out to the library. We've got this location here in Florence and Mapleton, and I just love that we got a chance to help our citizens and patrons. And also, I just want to thank the candidates. I'm a little bitter. I was the one who was going to get to mute people, and you guys were really respectful. So thank you for doing that, even though you stole my excitement for the evening. And I especially do want to thank everybody who showed up to watch in person and who will be watching the recording. You've made yourself a better citizen of our county today, so thank you.
Okay, good night, everybody, and
Good
see you
night, and
next
thank you.
time.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you.
Hey, good night.